What is up, fam? Welcome back to the Car Talk Podcast. Today is an amazing day. I think this is going to be one of my best podcasts ever, so thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I really hope you get a bunch of value from this. But without further ado, today I really just want to talk to you guys about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is just simply the fact that this life is a long game. This is not a short game. This is I know people say it all the time, but this life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And that is the honest to God truth. And I've learned that it's the same way with fitness as well as a hobby like fishing or whatever else you might be interested in. I used to be really interested in basketball and baseball, so it's just like even those sports, it takes time for you to get good at that sport. But once you develop that skill and stay consistent with that sport or whatever it is that you're developing, over time it just becomes like who you are and how you go about your life, and it's just what you do. You know what I mean? Oh my God, my boy Drew's calling me. I'm gonna finish this up in a second. Sorry about that, fam. My buddy Drew just called me, and I of course had to answer that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. When you are consistent with either a hobby or a craft or a sport, you eventually develop muscle. You eventually develop, it's just like literally with working out. If you go to the gym consistently with one mission in mind to build muscle, you will build muscle within 3 to 5 years. But the thing with this, and why I'm mentioning all of this, because everybody knows that it takes about 3 to 5 years, to really kind of develop something that's really, really meaningful. But people don't really look at life like that. You know what I mean? Like, no one really looks at life in the way that, allows them to strategically live. For example, not many people, think about when they're 90 years old at 15 or 20 or 25 or 40 even. Most of society is actually thinking about tomorrow and this moment. Like, most people aren't even really thinking about tomorrow, I feel like. Most people are thinking about this moment or the next. Like, the next hour, maybe, 3 hours ahead, maybe a day, 24 hours in advance, There's a very, very, very small amount of people that actually plan for a week, even 3 months, 6 months, 12 months ahead. But there are more people that do, plan for about 12 months or, a couple years maybe even, or maybe even 5 years. But why don't you extend the way you think about things and the way you think about life? Why don't you think even like in 50, 60, 70, 80 years of time? Because ultimately, if you're 20 years old, with the way science is, progressing and the way that medicine is progressing, there's a good chance that you're going to live till you're in your own, your hundreds, early 100s. And I would say that if that's the case, you might as well set yourself up for a fun life that is going to cater all of the things that you want. And that's like the beauty of time, is just the fact that if you establish a goal early, you can really utilize time to, compound the interest. And over time, you'll be able to build something that is so magnificent that many, many, many people will be inspired by it. And I think that, it almost is, it is cliche, but if you go out and chase that 1% dream that you have, odds are it's a lifetime dream. It's not just something that, you think about and, you think about it for 3 to 5 years and you execute it on for 3 to 5 years and then you just chill. Like, no. Like, this is a complete lifestyle thing that I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about how do you want to live? Like, literally, Monday through Sunday, how do you want to live? Do you want to live, like everyone else, doing things that you don't necessarily love to do Monday through Friday? Or would you rather literally get out a notepad right now and write down the different things that you want to be doing? Like on a Monday, what do you want to be doing from 6 to 8 a.m.? So a lot of different things. If you do not have to work, I want to ask you, what would you be doing from 6 to 8 a.m.? And then what would you want to be doing from 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 1 to, like literally go throughout your whole entire day and think like, if I wasn't here, what would I want to be doing right now? And I know most people don't really think about it, but the people that I study that are very, very successful in this life ultimately have a problem that they're fixing and have something that they're really, really passionate about that they're trying to solve. And that is something that takes a lifetime typically, and it's something that is, it's something that results in different actions that most people aren't willing to take. And I'm curious to know, what do you want? Genuinely, ask yourself, what do you want? As soon as you figure out what you want, that's when you can start developing a plan to get exactly that. And the coolest part about like working out, for me at least, is like I'm a small guy, and I have always wanted to lift weights just for the simple fact that it would make my muscles bigger and I would look better. That's why I never wanted to be fat. I never wanted to be fat, and I always wanted to have big muscles. I swear to God, ever since I was a young kid, that's genuinely what I want. So what did I do? As soon as I was old enough, my mom wouldn't let me work out at 10, 11, 12, but as soon as I was old enough to work out, and that was when I basically got hair under my armpits, that was when I started working out. And I loved it. And I genuinely, I love sports, so it really helped out with that. And I just, I really fell in love with it. And then, instead of doing like just random bicep, curls and whatever the hell I was doing, I started to get into it more and started to go to an actual gym, which Peak Fitness, if you know, fun fact, I used to actually, so my cousin was the one that actually taught me how to work out and lift weights properly. I used to just be obsessed with it because my dad used to do bicep curls in the basement and, over the head tricep extensions and stuff. And I would just think that was cool. So that's basically what I did from, 13 to 16 or whatever. But then my cousin started getting big into lifting weights and stuff. And he's like, dude, you should come with me sometime. So I started going with him, and oh my gosh, did I love it. It was literally everything that I wanted. It was difficult, but I just knew that if I kept pushing myself, like, for example, my cousin is one of the strongest kids I knew at the time, for sure, and I still to this day, I haven't worked out with him in a while, but my God, he is buff. And when I literally first started working out with him, he was the same exact way. Like, I wasn't even able to do 12 reps, and he was doing, I was doing like 6 or 7, maybe 8, and like he was like, dude, what the hell, man, you ain't even gonna do 10? I'm like, bro, I can't. Like, I'm not able to. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I wish I could be like you, bro. I would literally tell him, like, gosh, dude, like, I don't know how you do 12 reps. Like, these are so hard. This is insane. And like, I'm doing lighter weight, but I still can't even do the reps. And he did 12 reps, 4 sets, no matter what the hell it was. And and I just knew that if I were to stay consistent with it, just like he did for the 3 months before, I started doing it, I just knew that good things would happen, and that eventually I would get to a point where I'm able to do 12 reps and I'm strong. Like, that's ultimately all I ever wanted. And needless to say, long story short, it happened, and I'm 24 years old now, and I can honestly say time is flying by. Like, it is literally flying by so fast, and I'm like looking back at and thinking back on just the past 10 years, I guess, because oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. my math while I was just doing that too. So the last 8 years, I've been lifting weights, and it has been paying off. I've seen tons of gains. I've gone through some, period of my life, like when I was actually working a lot of hours and like doing not exactly what I love to do, but really focusing on my passions when I could, which was fishing and like working out and stuff. I was going so hard. I was like 20 pounds heavier than I have ever been. Like my base weight is, 135. I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys, I'm telling you. It's 135. On a good day, 140. Like typically 138, is where I'm at right now. And I'm at like very little body fat percentage, but I'm lean, if I'm being honest, I'm not where I want to be right now. I really want to be a lot heavier. I want to be where I was in like 2019, where I would say I was my biggest. I actually worked at a gym that was taking up a lot of my time, and I was just eating so much food, and I was just like really grinding it hard at the gym, and working tons of hours, spending money carelessly, like not really budgeting that well, but learning how to budget, and working tons of hours again, and just like grinding, and I got up to like 155, I want to say, like maybe 150 couple, might not have even been 155, but I was pushing 225. I remember I did for a rep, maybe 2 reps, which at that body weight, it's not bad, but still, like nowadays I could not do that. Most definitely I could not do that. So it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to kind of think back and be like, damn, like I went through a phase where I was basically the biggest I could have ever been, and then I leaned down, and now I'm basically, I've taken all that muscle, I've kept it, but it's just, I'm lean, you know what I mean? So I can lift heavy weights, but I kind of choose not to. I would rather do like 12 reps and do a little bit like more manageable weight, like nothing crazy, which is why I'm not growing and I'm not consuming a ton of calories, because quite honestly, I'm living as minimalistically as I possibly can, and I'm not gorging on food right now. Like, I don't live in a situation where I feel comfortable to prepare food all the time and like to eat all the time, so I just choose not to, and I choose to take advantage of being young and just being able to kind of eat sloppy and like kind of live how I'm living. I'm not prioritizing per se, fitness as much as I was in the past and as much as I'd like to maybe in the future, but ultimately what I am prioritizing is my career and my lifelong mission. And that lifelong mission is truly going to take a lifetime and some. And I totally understand that not everyone is going to have ambitions that are similar to mine. Not everyone's going to want to have a lifelong mission and problems that they want to solve that are such as the ones that I want to solve, but to each their own. And my biggest thing is like, if I could wish anything on you, it's just self-awareness. Like, it's just knowing what you want in this life and in this lifetime. Genuinely, what brings you fulfillment? What makes you tick? Like, what genuinely, like, what are you passionate about, And think about how you can turn those passions into something that, might be beneficial for society. And it's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with everything that society has taught us to think that we need to think about when we're thinking about a career. What I'm talking about is like, genuinely, if you were born in, I don't know, like, I'm just trying to think of any, like if you were born in Illinois and you love lacrosse, for example, but you're just choosing not to do anything in the lacrosse space, why? Why don't you dig deeper into the fact that you could actually be a coach, or you could even be an online coach? You could literally start making content around lacrosse and be that lacrosse guy on TikTok and turn that into a business funnel or into a business in itself where you're selling merch or whatever the heck, And then before you know it, you've got something substantial that would result in you doing only what you love 100% of the time. Like, that's the beauty in what I'm talking about here. Is like, if you have something, like for me, like, I love fishing. I love fishing so much that I am so weird about fishing that I will never put myself in a position to not like fishing. Meaning I'll never put money in between me and fishing. And that means I'll never have a sponsor deal, or like, I won't take money from the fishing industry in a way that will make my soul churn and not like fishing. You know, which that kind of sounds a little bit weird, but I genuinely just want to protect fishing because that's what grounds me as a human. And I know that hobby in itself is something special. That passion is never ever gonna die. And how can I cater that all throughout my life? And my fishing goals are very, very specific, and they have nothing to do with anything financially, and they have nothing to do with anything that's too difficult. Like for me, my biggest goal is to fish at least 15 minutes a day every single day. If I can't fish 15 minutes, I better make up for it the next day. And my biggest thing is, like, most days I get the luxury of spending at least a couple hours out there, maybe even more. And because of that, I know in my 50s and my 60s, I'm going to win a lot of tournaments. I'm going to win a Bassmaster Classic, and I'm going to win all the iconic trophies that I've dreamed of winning ever since a young child. And I want to give myself enough time. If it's not even in my 50s and 60s, maybe it'll be in my 70s and 80s. Like, that's totally fine. I want to give myself enough time to establish a relationship where I can go competitive with the sport that I love so much. Right now, I'm so far from that. I could never, ever go competitive with bass fishing, because I know it would put me, because I know myself, it would put me in a situation where I might actually not like fishing as much as I do right now. And it wouldn't do as much for my soul as it does right now. And I don't want that. I really, really don't. And, you know, I've got dreams and goals and aspirations for other things as well. You know, like my fitness, my biggest fitness goal, like my lifelong fitness passion is to stay in my prime. I know at some point that's not going to be realistic, but at every age and cycle of my life, I want to be in my prime. And at 55 years old, that's probably when I'm not going to be able to keep up with that. But maybe with modern medicine and maybe with all of the new technologies coming out, that might actually be a reality. That might actually be a reality. Now that I'm thinking of it, like, I could be in my prime in my 50s. I see guys next to me in the gym nowadays, like, that are busting their ass, buff as all get up. Like, I admire guys like that. I always tell my dad, like, dude, you're 50 freaking years old, man. You're not 80. Like, what the hell? Quit acting like you're old. Like, you're about to freaking sign off. Like, dude, get healthy. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, I don't understand it for the life of me. Like, but everyone teach their own. You know, everybody's got their thing. And I just think that the biggest thing that I want to do with my fitness goal is to just be in my prime and to just stay healthy. That's the simplest form of it. And then, you know, obviously, like, I do also want to create brands around my passion for fitness, and I want to bring value to the people that are also interested in fitness. And I want to get more people into it because it is important. You know, you don't have to be a person that lifts weights. You just have to do something that gets your heart rate up. Because if you don't, it's not good for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not good for you. It's not sustainable. And if you want to live into your hundreds, like, you've got to act like you want to all the way throughout, in my opinion. And that's the one thing that I was really lucky to be born with. I'm not gonna lie, it's like in my DNA. Like, it's just like, why would I not be the most healthiest version of myself? Like, that's literally always been in me. And that's why I know that, like, even though my career goals haven't come to fruition, even though my biggest, you know, lifelong missions obviously haven't come to fruition yet because it's a lifelong mission, I know that if I continue to put in the reps, if I continue to put up the shots, if I continue to get the experience out on the water, good things are going to come from it. You know what I mean? Really, really good things are going to come from it. And I just want the same exact thing for you. I want every single person that is listening to this to just think, like literally think, what is it that you're passionate about? Like even the slightest interest could lead you into something that might be like something like my fishing. You know what I mean? Like if you like sewing, you might not want to make money off of sewing, but what if you were to make a little TikTok around your favorite way to sew, your favorite technique, or your favorite sewing machine, or your favorite, whatever your little, your niche talk, like you could start creating content around that and meet people that are interested in the same thing that you're interested in, which for one, what kind of value does that bring? Hello, happiness, that's awesome. Meeting other people that are interested and passionate around the same things that you're into is amazing. And the other good thing that could come from it is, nowadays they don't pay TikTok creators that much, but they do pay them. And it might be fun for you to just go on and create sewing videos. And if you do that, who knows? You might be able to quit your full-time job someday, aka in 5 years, because that's the type of day and age we're living in. Like, it's literally a 5-year investment. It's not even a lifetime with this type of stuff. Like, I'm seeing people, like even with myself, like if I were to put the pedal to the metal all the way, and if I would have all the way since 2019, since I've been on TikTok, I would be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I'll be making a lot of money, a lot more than I am making now. But guess what? I deployed self-awareness to know that I am better than that. If I were to do that, it wouldn't be sustainable. I would spend that money foolishly. I would do things that aren't within my authentic, DNA, and I would just not live the way that I want to live. And what does that mean? That just means that I create a little bit less content, grow a little bit slower. Sometimes I grow and even decline, but then eventually I always grow again. But that results in me being happy, and it results in it being a sustainable thing that I can build. It doesn't result in me, losing who I am, losing my mental health, and then in turn resulting in like not bringing any value to people. Because if I'm out of commission, that means I can't bring any peace, entertainment, happiness, motivation to anyone else. And that ultimately would diminish my whole entire life goal, which is to do exactly that. I just genuinely want to make this world a better place. It's as simple as that. That's all I really want. And I know for a fact that is, that is a lifelong and more goal. And I can't wait to just build tons of brands, but tons of, awareness around things that I'm passionate about, to do things that are exactly that, around the lines of making this world a better place. And I want you to really, 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 really think today, tonight, this morning, whenever you're listening to this, what is it that you love? What is it that genuinely makes you happy? And how can you make this world a better place with that in mind? Doing something around that, where you're doing something that you love to do every single day, from Monday through Sunday. You know what I mean, fam? Right here. Hard work and patience. It's all it takes. It really is. I love you all so freaking much, like more than you could ever even know. And thank you so much for listening to this. And as I close out every podcast, if you're happy, spread that happiness. One way or another, either text somebody you love, text a family member, shoot a tweet out, do something to make this world a better place, to spread some happiness. And as always, fam, stay curious. This life is nothing if you're not curious. This life is something that is ever evolving, and if you're not continuously learning, it's because you're lacking curiosity. So stay curious, fam. I love you so much. I'll catch you guys next pod.